How many planes do you actually need? This is the Trinity of hand planes. Block plane, smoothing plane, jointer plane. That's all you need. So a bunch of cut marks here. They don't go very deep, so I'm just going to refresh the surface with my smoothing plane. So here we go. So this middle section is actually a little bit low because I feel as I move across it, I can feel high spots. And as I cut, I want to hear and feel for a single cut across. And if I've got a single continuous cut from this side all the way through, it means that I'm more or less flat and smooth. One little scar right there, but it's okay. Needs to have a little bit more mineral oil on it, but that looks good to me. I would call that good. So it's just freshened up. All right, and so just to demonstrate how easy it is to reseason this, is just put a little bit of mineral oil on the surface. And just kind of slop it around. You don't even have to do this. I just do it because I want to make sure that the wood is nice and sealed and somewhat water resistant. It's also critical you never put a board like this in the dishwasher. That's what kills these things. Is the high temperature of the dishwasher will cause your wood to freak out and your glue joints to break apart, and that's not good. So hand wash only. Okay, block planes. I have two block planes here. One is a little bit newer. This is a 3-year-old plane. This one's more or less 30 years old. They're really good tools and really great for basic woodworking. Just for example, this is some pieces left over from my stand-up paddleboard project. And for applications where you can see this, it's got the edge of the board. This is from the nose of the board, I believe. There is a roll-off shoulder to the board, and on the back side, same thing here. In order to shape that, what I use is the block plane. So you come through and gently make the shape that you desire out of that curve and to smooth it out. This is cedar, and cedar is a softwood, but it's also really important to keep your block plane very sharp while you do this, so you get nice cuts that don't tear the wood. This actual block plane is what I use for the majority of the shaping on this paddleboard. I'm pointing to it. I'll show you later what this is. And block planes are very, very useful for this application. And again, just to shape. And chamfer, this is called chamfering, where I have a pronounced edge to the work, and all I do is take the plane and just remove the sharp edge. And the advantage of the block plane over a sanding board or a chisel is you can control the cut very precisely. And in many cases, you don't even require sandpaper. So in case you're wondering what the difference is between sort of a budget plane like this guy, the little Stanley here, this was probably $30 when I bought it. This one's under 200, I think, but up in there. So the difference is predominantly the iron. So this iron is fairly thin. And so as you work, if it's not super sharp, well, even if it's sharp, you're going to get a little chatter, where on the Lee Nielsen, it is a very hefty iron. You can see that. I think this is what, 3/16 thick? Let's check that. All right, here we go. So we're at what, 130 thousandths for thickness on the Lee Nielsen, and on the Stanley, we're at what, 80 thousandths, 79 thousandths. So notably thicker for the Lee Nielsen, and you do feel it. You do feel that it's a lot less chatter when you're working with it. I think it's also A2 steel, which I think is just an overall better quality of steel. I don't know a lot about metallurgy, or I would tell you more information about that, but you definitely feel it when you're using it. It's a more solid feel, and you get more of a positive cut over the less expensive block plane. But this, not to take away at all from this less expensive plane. Again, I've used this for years, over 30 years, and it works pretty well. So just learn how to sharpen. That's key. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about why you use a joiner plane. This is a very large one. This is a number 8. It's a big plane. But when I built this workbench, I did all of this by hand. I don't even think I used the table saw. Maybe I did for rough cutting. But this was all sourced from a pine tree in my parents' yard that was cut down and then chainsaw milled. So it was very rough material. So it needed a lot of work. So I just went for it, used this plane predominantly to fit it. It did a nice job. So what I'll do now is actually occasionally, like once a year, it's a good idea if you've used the bench quite a bit to go through and flatten it. And what that means is that as you use, especially this front area, which I use more than anything, it tends to get a little beat up, and you get divots in it, dents where you've hammered it maybe, or material that's left indentations in it, or it's just dirty and you want to freshen it up a little bit. So I'm going to flatten it with the joiner plane. And one cool thing about these joiner planes is that it's got a very, very flat surface on the sole, but it's also got a very nice corner, so you can put it on edge. So basically, put it up on edge like this, and then look to see where the light's coming through. So in this particular case, I've got this joiner plane that actually looks pretty good. It's pretty flat right in the front part of the bench. And then there's a little roll off toward the back where it's a low spot, basically. So you can kind of move it around and see how bad it is. And I did this about a month ago, so it's actually pretty good. This very front part of the bench is pretty good. The vise chop is a little low, but that's fine. So it looks pretty good. There's a little gap in the back. I'm going all the way to this side. This side is pretty funky. You can see even there's quite a gap. Probably
little less than a 1/16 in the front. Definitely a high spot in the back part of this. So I'm gonna work on this for a minute and you'll see how I do it. And the first thing I'll do is I'll make passes widthwise just to take out some of the high spot, and then I'll make a pass going with the grain. Feel where it's contacting right in the middle. And you can see it's got a little drag to it. So what I do for that is, see if I can find it. So what I'll typically do is take a candle, an old candle, I'll just carry it around with me, and I'll just wax up the sole of the plane. And what that gives me is a lot easier float. Now I'm just feeling the cut rather than feeling the friction of the sole against the wood. So I'll just make the side passes there. And maybe go a little bit angular. And if I'm cutting pretty evenly, notice I take a little pressure, making sure that the sole is flat as I can get it. As I run across, okay, it's grabbing right in the middle there. And then I'll go with the grain gently. And I don't really need to cut much there. I just know that the high spots are right in the middle here. So I'm going to focus right here. And then I'll check it. Yeah, and that actually, so it's not too bad at this point. Let's see here. I'll take a little bit more in the middle. This, which is not gonna play nice. Okay, that's better. Got a little aggressive in the middle. That's got a little gap at the end. But over here, I've got actually it's a little high in the middle, or a little high on the front of the bench. And then there's a little low spot right there. High spot there. So that's basically how I do it. I'll just go through the bench like that, just slowly sort of working away at the parts of it that most annoy me. But I won't obsess over it. I mean, again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be better than not perfect. So
There we go. So the joiner works really well whenever you're doing any sort of lamination. So like on this cutting board, which I talk about this more in another video and I'll link to it above. But when I repaired this, I used the joiner plane to carefully fix the delamination, and then I re-glued this piece together. So this does a really good job for stuff like that. If you're making something like a skateboard and you're joining different pieces together for the lamination, again, this is really good for that. It'll make sure you don't have any gaps or voids. So that's it. That's really all I have to say. So, you know, your block plane, smoothing plane, joiner plane. This is a number 8. It was a gift, so I probably would have settled with a number 7, which is a little smaller than this. But if you come across a good, large joiner plane, grab it.